Hello, welcome to my kitchen at home. Today I am going to be making cherry Bakewell cupcakes. It's one of my favourite flavours. It's loosely based on a Bakewell tart, which is essentially short crust pastry, raspberry jam and a bit of frangipane filling, but I've deconstructed it and cupcakified it and to create this killer combo of cherries and almonds, and you're going to love it. I've already started by making my cherry goo, which is basically frozen cherries. I just use one of those bags you can get. They're normally 350 to 400 grams. Whack that in a saucepan with 3 tablespoons of caster sugar and the zest of a lemon for a bit of extra tang. And I boiled it up, I simmered it for about 25 minutes, mashing it with a potato masher until it became this kind of jammy consistency. I even put it through a food processor just to make it sure it's nice and smooth. And that is going to be the flavouring for my buttercream. So it's just cooling down now and I'll be using it later. This sponge is going to be a nice almond sponge. It's not completely almondy, but it has enough almonds in it that it's going to be adding a lovely moisture to the cake, and I'm going to boost the almond flavour with some yummy almond extract. But it's basically 90 grams of self-raising flour, along with 35 grams of ground almonds, or it's sometimes called almond flour, 1/4 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda, and 125 grams of caster sugar, and that is all my dry ingredients. It might need a little bit of help going through the sieve because of the ground almonds, and not only does almonds make the sponge nice and moist, it also gives it a really nice texture. I'm also going to add 2 large free-range eggs, and 125 grams of soft unsalted butter. And with my paddle on, I'm going to mix that for about a minute on a medium speed. When it's had a minute, just drop the speed down to the minimum and put in 1½ tablespoons of whole milk and about 1/8 teaspoon of the almond extract. And then just speed that up to medium again and beat it together for about 30 seconds. All right, that's ready. It all smells very almondy already. And this just needs to go into some paper cases. I've got my 12-hole tin lined already with cases, and you can distribute this among them however you like. If you prefer using ice cream scoops, go right ahead. If you like piping bags, do that. I always use spoons, as you know, because that's just how I've always done it. And I'm just going to bake these at 170 degrees C for 20 to 22 minutes, and they'll be ready when they're nice and springy on the top. While they're baking, I'm going to make the buttercream, and this is going to be delicious and cherry flavoured using the yummy cherry goo I made. So to start with, I've got 150 grams of soft unsalted butter, which I'm going to beat for quite a long time on quite a high speed, about 5 minutes, and it's going to make it really pale. Once it's nice and beaten, you can add the sugar, and I've got 350 grams of icing sugar. I've already sifted it, and I like to put that in 2 stages, beating for about 3 or 4 minutes after each stage. And that makes it nice and fluffy and smooth. Make sure you start it on a slow speed, otherwise it's all in your face. Right. While that was doing its thing, my cakes beeped at me, so they're ready. I'm just going to let them cool down. Now it's time to add the cherry goo, and I've made this quite thick. I'm going to start by putting 3 tablespoons in, and I'll add more if I need to, but I'll start with 3. I'm also going to add a couple of drops of the almond extract just to boost the cherry flavour, because actually almonds and cherries are very closely related, so it will kind of boost each other's flavours. Just a couple of drops, and then whack it up and beat it all together. And that's ready, and it's a really pretty pink colour thanks to the cherries. So I'm going to put this in a piping bag so that it's ready to use while I get on with making the pie crumb. To make the pie crumb, which is going to go on the top of the cupcakes, it's very straightforward. So I have got 125 grams of plain flour already in my bowl. I'm going to add to that a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of water, a good pinch of salt, and I've already melted 60 grams of unsalted butter. Just whack it all in together and then give it a really good stir with a spoon, and it will start to come together as a kind of wet, sticky dough. When it's all sort of clumping together, then you can abandon your spoon and get your fingers in there, because what we're going to do is rub it together. It does feel quite wet at the moment, but don't worry. As we rub it together and kind of separate the little bits, it will form little nuggets of yummy pastry, which will then bake and be delicious. If you keep moving it around, gradually little kind of balls will form in all different sizes, and I quite like it when there's some big nuggets and some small nuggets. And when you're happy with your nugget variations, just sprinkle it onto a baking sheet, spread it out a little bit, and then I'm going to bake these at the same temperature, 170, for about 15 or 20 minutes, and they'll be ready when they're nice and golden. If you need to shuffle it around halfway through just to make sure the cooking's nice and even, then do that, but it should take about 15 minutes. My pie crumb is ready, it cooled down and it is lovely and sprinkleable. So now I'm just going to get on with decorating these with a big blob of buttercream and sprinkles. And as well as my pie crumb, I've also got some toasted almonds as well, just to give it a bit more of a Bakewell feel. And all you need to do next is sprinkle it all over the place. And that is the finished cherry Bakewell cupcake, and it is so soft and squishy as I pick it up. I can't wait to get my chops around that. So have fun making these. I hope they are a suitable homage to the Bakewell tart. And if you do make them, let me know by using hashtag Cupcake Jemma on Instagram and Twitter. And don't forget, you can subscribe to my channel. Just click on my face, and please share this recipe with someone you think would like a cherry Bakewell cupcake. See you next week. Bye. It's so soft. Yum.